The NBA season showed us a lot, and it sprung a lot of questions. But what's more interesting is that it's only been 6 days since it's ended, and the offseason has already showed us so much more. Who is going to land Bradley Beal? Who will land Damien Lillard? And will any of the top 3 picks this year be moved? Outside of that, there's a ton of notable free agents and a ton of potential signings that can help aid championship contenders, similar to the Bruce Brown signing for the Denver Nuggets. We got a ton to talk about in today's video, guys, so let's just jump straight into it, discussing the Bradley Beal rumors. As of right now, because of the no trade clause, we know that the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat are finalists to land Brad. Like I said, he has a no trade clause, so he's pretty much able to do whatever he wants as far as the landing point if it isn't right for him. For those of you who don't know, Bradley's on one of the most insane contracts in NBA history. It was actually record breaking when he signed it, as he's making around $250 million over 5 years. This makes it hard to move him, but with the no trade clause, it's even tougher. The Phoenix Suns have offered a poor package of Chris Paul and Landry Shamet, while the Miami Heat have offered a package of Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and multiple first-round picks. This is just upsetting from the Wizards' standpoint, because if this were just a year or two ago, it could have yielded a much greater haul for Bradley Beal, something similar to what the Donovan Mitchell trade looked like for Cleveland. Hindsight being what it is, you can't change that. With the offers the Wizards have received so far, specifically the Phoenix Suns offer, I'm surprised that the Lakers don't have the assets to make an offer, or a compelling one at that, because at his ceiling, Bradley is a capable all-star, maybe even all-NBA guard who can get you 20 to 25 efficiently on any given night with excellent shot creation off the dribble, and at his floor, he's around an 18 point per game second or third option on a potential championship level team. It's just really hard to gauge where he's at right now, because him and the Wizards have not played meaningful basketball in years, and he was injured most of this last season. His healthy seasons, we have one where he averaged 30 points in the first time where John Wall was out with that ACL injury. Then the next season he's averaging 29 points, and I'm pretty sure he didn't make the All-Star game that year. A lot of people were upset about that. And then we have this season where the Wizards were just an absolute laughing stock and they didn't do anything. In Miami, I think he'd be a great fit next to Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, especially if they can keep Tyler Hero to come off the bench. He'd relieve some of the awkwardness we saw in Miami's offense this postseason without Tyler Hero, when no one was a shot creator outside of Jimmy Butler, and he'd lead to more pressure, trying to run people off the three-point line, allowing less pressure and the congestion and the paint on Bam Adebayo, and more opportunity for back cutting and rotation off the ball, which is why it would suck to get rid of Duncan Robinson, because in this postseason I thought he did a really excellent job of moving off the ball. But those are the things you have to do and the things you have to sacrifice to become a true championship contender. In Phoenix, I'm not really sure what his role looks like. Either he or Devin is the point guard, or maybe one of them is the small forward, and I guess you'd have to make Devin the point guard. But I think that the trio of Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant was much more destined to succeed back in Brooklyn, and I know that injury played a big part in it, and even Kevin Durant's shoe size played a big part in it and the reasons that they didn't work out. But I digress. Also, if you're struggling with depth and you bring in a guy like Bradley who's nearly making $50 million a year, how can you even afford to bring in anyone other than some people on a vet minimum post the Bradley Beal trade? We'll come back to the Wizards shortly after discussing the idea of Dame finding a new home. It's interesting because almost everyone, including Dame himself, would probably say that he'd retire in Portland. Every podcast clip, media bite, or article readings point to that, until you get to this season's exit interviews, when one reporter asked Damien Lillard if he's interested in possibly getting a great prospect in the NBA draft if they had received a top 3 pick. Mind you, this was before the lottery results, and Damien Lillard responded with, "I don't have much of an appetite for bringing in guys 2 or 3 years away from really going after it. This is not a secret. I want a chance to go for it, and if the route is to do that, then that's not my route." This is somewhat of a subliminal message saying that's fine if you guys want to keep that third pick and maybe draft Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, but if you're going to do so, I hope you ship me off. And that's just kind of reading between the lines. Since then, Dame has appeared at playoff games courtside in Phoenix, he showed up in Philadelphia, and he also made an appearance in Brooklyn, all of which could just be to enjoy the game of basketball or maybe support his friends, but you really never know what is tampering and what is recruiting. The three landing spots I've heard most of for Damien Lillard are him staying in Portland, him going to the Lakers, or making an appearance in Philadelphia. Now, if Dame were to go to Philadelphia, this could make for a dynamic pairing with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, but I'm not sure what the ceiling is if they don't reconstruct the roster further outside of that. You're going to need a lot more shooting and a lot more defensive capability at the wing position to complement Joel's game, and we've also seen time and time again Joel has a bit of tendency to fade in big games or disappear and become entirely inefficient, which is why the Dame pairing compared to James Harden would be very interesting, because Dame has some pretty heroic and memorable playoff performances. I'd assume the only way this happens if James Harden was involved in a sign and trade, and even then James would have to agree to want to go to Portland. Maybe if Maxey and other pieces were able to move the needle, then they would do a package revolving around that and some future draft picks. I have no idea what the value is for Damian Lillard right now. Regardless, it would be interesting to see Dame lace up in a Philadelphia uniform. Next, Damien Lillard in Los Angeles would be very interesting because for both teams, I could honestly see it working, which is rare that you see a win-win. You know, you sign and trade maybe Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and D'Angelo Russell plus the 2029 pick, and then that allows the Blazers to build around Sharp, Anthony Simons, the third pick, who's probably going to be Scoot Henderson, and then Austin Reeves, and you have Rui Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell something to do with. The Lakers, they stay in win-now mode with a new superstar point guard who can shoot from virtually anywhere on the floor and is great setting up his bigs. This option seems like a great idea for both rosters, but I just honestly can't see it happening. I just can't see the Lakers pulling the trigger or pulling it off. Maybe because they want to stay in win-now mode but also keep some of their future, and I can't say I don't respect that. Then the third and final option would be if Damian Lillard wanted to stay in Portland, and they would have to move the third overall pick for someone like Kristaps Porzingis, which has been mildly discussed in the past few days. Now, in my opinion, I don't think that you move essentially Scoot Henderson for Kristaps Porzingis. If you're going to want to move that draft pick, I feel like something you'd have to do is maybe go for a bigger haul and pair the third pick with Jeremy Grant and Yusuf Nurkic, and then on top of that you trade for Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. And that's an interesting thought, because then maybe you go after Draymond Green and a Dylan Brooks in free agency, or maybe even Victor Oladipo, and next thing you know, you're a team that's kind of deep and can make a very interesting playoff run. But in my opinion, if you're not going to go for the big swing and try to get Beal and Porzingis, I think it's time that you thank Dame for an incredible Portland career and just move on from it, because this pick, this draft, it's very quintessential. I mean, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, and Victor Wembanyama are going to be talked about as generational prospects for a long time, and I don't think it's really worth making Dame unhappy, and I don't think trading away that pick is worth just getting Kristaps Porzingis, unless maybe you're getting Kristaps Porzingis and you have ulterior plans to sign someone like I said, Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks, Victor Oladipo. You would have to bring in all those other guys. All things considered, it's going to be a really great offseason, and I'm really excited to see who ends up where and what the packages look like. We got a lot of stuff coming on this channel, and I'm really excited to go into another offseason, as next month marks 1 year on YouTube for me. I appreciate your guys' support, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy Father's Day to any fathers watching this video. Have a great day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.